Welcome to the world of exploration. Welcome to the world of learning. Let's start exploring. Let's start learning. This is your very own educator, teacher, philosopher, guide, mentor, friend, teacher, one and all. And this is the one-stop destination that is English curriculum. We're in um English curriculum as well as wherein you can learn and we can learn and we can become better human beings as well, right? So social science is all about becoming humane, becoming human-like, having human-like quality that is being seen, right? All right. So with that, let's start off from where we left, right? So you may wonder whether this is a science like, say, for example, physics or chemistry. So you might have heard your seniors also or your um, brothers and sisters saying, "Oh, I'm studying physics right now. I'm studying science, chemistry right now. I'm studying biology right now." So these are the bifurcations that we have when you grow up, right? Right now, science is also clubbed, right? So physics is also you have one paper, and in that particular paper you have physics, chemistry, biology. But when you grow up, you will have bifurcations between physics, chemistry, and biology, right? Maths or artificial intelligence or IT, so on and so forth, right? Um, because artificial intelligence is getting a lot of importance in the 21st century. All right, so you may wonder whether this is science like, say, physics or chemistry. It is not. So it is not. Let me clarify that, and let me put it in the correct order that it is not science, right? The discipline does not use scientific methods. Why it is not? Now we are going to get to the reason, right? We are going to target the reason now. So this discipline, that is social science, does not use science methods or methodologies, whether possible, wherever possible. So wherever it is possible, it is still not, when we talk about social science, it will never ever make use of, like, most of the times, of scientific methods, right? You will see this is for the for the younger people, for you guys out there, for small children. I mean, obviously, you would not like to call yourself small. You want to call yourselves big, but uh, when you grow up, then you have different disciplines. You will understand when you go to those respective classes. All right. So, it is not the discipline doesn't the discipline does use scientific. So yeah, where was I? Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so the discipline does use scientific methods wherever possible. We will see a few examples in this textbook. So it does make use of scientific methodologies, but not to that extent. Obviously, like, if we talk about science, so there are various experiments. Obviously, there are experiments if we talk about geography. Uh, the geography that we have in 11th and 12th, we have several experiments, and plus, apart from that, we have practical books as well. So we have um, uh, separate it, like, we keep on experimenting with things. On the other hand, in psychology also, like, I had psychology too. So you have experiments, and plus we have practicals. So we have experiments, right? In IP also, I had IP also, so I had experiments, right? So IP, that is information practices, that is again related to computer, IT, or artificial intelligence, right? So You may wonder whether so the discipline does use scientific methods wherever possible. You will see a few examples in this textbook, but its focus, as I have said, that it does not make use of much. Like it is, I think you have understood the point that it does not make use of scientific methods to that extent that it would be called a science. But it does make use of scientific methods to a limited amount, to a limited extent. That is why, along with social, along with the society, along with the uh, unit, family unit, or along with the yeah, along with the family unit or um, society at large, it is called social science because there is a kind of interaction that goes around with the surroundings, with the environment, that is called social. That is why, because why are we are known as social beings. Why human beings are known as social beings? Because we interact with people, we interact with surroundings, we interact with teachers, we interact with parents, you guys, you kids must be interacting with their parents, you must be interacting with their gurus, with their teachers, and with your friends. You're chirping all the time, right? So that is what I'm talking about over here. So, but its focus is human society. So its focus is human society, right? Is again too diverse to allow the kind of set procedures and fixed results the sciences come up with. So is again, when we talk about human society, it's very diverse. Again, there are a lot of differences. Again, there are a lot of uh, different opinions or perceptions that go right side by side to allow the kind of set procedures and fixed results the sciences come up with. Social science has many subdisciplines. Now, this is what I was talking about in the initial. This is what I've been talking about in my first lecture, in my second lecture, and this is the third lecture, right? So, it has geography, it has history, it has political science, it has economics, it has sociology, it has anthropology, right? It has archaeology, it has psychology, a few more, right? So I thought that I would not be telling you about archaeology, anthropology, uh, and psychology, but I told you, and it is mentioned in your book as well. So you are, although you are small, but you are supposed to keep in mind all these things because in the exam, the examiner can ask you anything, right? So you have to be prepared, and you have to be prepared for, it might be in the standard sixth, but you can study the syllabi of standard seventh as well, of eighth as well, so that you 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 start falling in love with that particular subject, right? Um, I mean, I personally speaking, I don't like maths. So I can't obviously do maths, but I do like all the other subjects, right? So social science has many subdisciplines: geography, history, political science, economics, sociology, anthropology, archaeology, psychology, and a few other disciplines as well, right? Even fine arts and everything, they would also be there. We have, when you grow up, you do have the uh, option of, in some of the schools, for opting for tabla, or for opting for Japanese, or for Chinese, or Korean, Sanskrit, Telugu, Tamil. You do get the option of choosing Hindi. You do get the option of choosing painting, you do get the option of choosing dancing, Odissi, Kathakali, Bharatanatyam. You do get the chance of the option of singing. So, but when you grow up, then you will realize what you have studied. You will be able to recollect. So you need not feel intimidated by all these terms while you will study some of these sub-disciplines in the secondary stage. So as I've already mentioned, that you will study all these disciplines in the secondary stage. In the middle stage, we have avoided this classification. So this is your middle stage, and therefore, NCRT has tried to avoid it, avoid this classification. Instead, we have opted for five broad themes. Let us briefly look at them. So instead, they have tried to incorporate and they have tried to opt for five themes. And now we are going to have a look at those five themes. Theme A, which I have already discussed in the first session. If you have not seen my first lecture, go and see the first lecture. And yeah, I'll make a playlist so that it becomes easier for you um to basically jump or hop from one um lecture to the next one, right, to the other. So do check it out, right? Right now I have not uploaded play I have not made the playlist. I've just uploaded the videos, but it would be confusing for you guys because you are small. Obviously, you are kiddos. So I would be preparing a playlist wherein we would be having um you would be basically getting the material proper in order, right? So yeah. So now let's move on to just a second. If we are all right, yes. So I'll just second stop share and then I'll share it. All right, so we will discuss theme A, right, which is India and the world, land and the people. So India. So you must have seen in India's map. If you haven't, just go and check it out. You can but I would rather say purchase a book or purchase an atlas wherein you can actually, you know, it's very interesting also uh to locate places on map, to locate countries on map, right? To locate continents, sea, ocean, everything on map, right? It's very easy. And nowadays, especially, we do have Google Maps. I don't know how to read Google Maps, honestly speaking. We were taught. in 12th, but in the practical, during practicals, that how we are supposed to go about with technology and stuff, but I'm not so good with technology. Um, but yeah, so you guys make use of Google Maps, I guess it's Google Maps. Yeah, Google Maps. You might be using, might be making use of Google Maps for driving when you go to certain place. You might be, making use of, or when you go for a vacation. So similarly, we have maps, right? So it is very interesting to actually read a map. It is very interesting to actually go through a map. So make it a habit on a daily basis um to actually have a book in front of you, and you just uh read all the go through all the maps, right? And then, all right, so India and the world. So you have Indian map. You have two types of maps, right? You have Indian map. One is Indian map, wherein India, the states of India have been mentioned, right? And you have to locate the states. For example, Delhi. Where is Delhi? Um where is Kolkata? Where is Kerala? Where is Jammu Kashmir? So Jammu Kashmir is the crown, right? Where is I mean, you got the point, right? So land and the people, and then where? What about the land and the people? So land on which we stay, right? On which we build ourselves, in the sense that we will build our homes, right? So on which from which we get our food to eat, right? That means we are talking about farmers as well. We are talking about agriculture as well, right? You might be nowadays after COVID, most of the people we haven't. I mean, I haven't, but most of the people are in the habit of now doing are involved in agriculture. Um, so we are talking about agriculture, land, and people, right? So the first theme includes the basics of the geographical world around us. Some of the main features of our planet, right? So the first theme, which basically includes the basic of the geographical world around us, like how is the geographical land, geographical world around India. The second map would be consisting of the world. So it would be the map of the world, right? Altogether. That means of the entire globe, right? Some of the main features of our planet and the way to represent them on the map. Why is this theme important? When today we can get excellent maps on our mobile phones, as I've already mentioned, that on your mobile phones or on your tablet or on your iPad or iPhone or normal Android phone. You know, I make use of Android phones, so I use normal laptop. So I don't know about iPhones, but yeah, definitely uh, on each and every mobile cell phone, you have excellent maps, obviously, because you have the same apps, right? On uh, in iPhones, there might be some different apps, and in Android, there might be some different apps, but uh, no mobile or cell phone is superior to the other, right? It's just the kind of features that you get, right? All right, so we are moving on to the topic again. So why is this theme important when today we can get excellent maps on a mobile phone? So why is this theme even important? Why are we even focusing on this theme? Because we are nowadays on mobile phones, on tablets, on laptops, we do find Google Maps. So, what is the need of it? Where is the need? Because it deals with much more than maps. Because it also asks how it also asks us how geographical features, oceans, as I've mentioned before, mountains, rivers, etc., have shaped entire civilizations. So remember, I had spoken about civilization and the civilization, Harappan civilization. You would be reading that in history books, and you would be reading that in your senior classes as well, right? Uh, you can even have peer learning wherein you learn from your partner. You learn something, you pick up, so you can do it like this. You can select one topic, you can select one, yeah, topic, um or select one chapter, and you tell your friend to select another chapter, and then try to teach each other. For example, if I am Secretary Ma'am and I have selected the first chapter, and you, on the other hand, you're my student, you're my reader. Um, reader, sort of like you're reading my lecture, you're listening to my lecture, right? So you're my listener, you are my reader, you're my audience, right? Everything, whatever you want to assume. So, yeah, so you are my audience, right? So you are basically, uh, where was I? What was the point that, uh, okay, I remember what point was I making? All right, so it also asks how geographical features, for example, what I've been telling you, oceans, mountains, rivers, etc., have shaped the entire civilizations throughout their histories. It is also in India's case about how its natural setting has contributed to giving this ancient civilization a unique identity. So, Indian civilization is like India is an ancient country. It's a golden country. Why is it called a golden country? Because we were very rich. We were the richest civilization. Um, See, now the kind of map that we get to see, um, you guys are small, but still I would be telling you this, that we have P POK, that is Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and we have China, that is China occupied COK, that is China occupied Kashmir, and then we have a bit of it, Kashmir, jump bit of Kashmir, right? So, and on that also, like what happened in Pahalgaon. So, and on top of it, that attack took place, right? Had taken place. So, um, this you need to know because you are going to be the future, right? Um, right now, I am trying to be the future. I'm trying to make my future bright by lighting up the future of other people as well, of my students as well. And definitely I will not burn myself, I will light up myself. I will, if I will light up myself, only then I can light you people, only then I can instill light in you people. If I will burn my light, then how can I light others? Like how can I instill light in others, right? So, as I had shown you previously, this image. So it's about this image. So mountains, ocean, seas, sky, all these things they make up. Was I have shaped entire civilization throughout their histories, right? It is also India's case about how its natural setting has contributed to giving this ancient civilization a unique identity. So it has a natural setting as well, right? Theme B, theme two is tapestry of the past, right? So tapestry is a large piece of canvas like cloth, which I've explained in the previous lecture, in the first lecture. If you haven't checked it out, go and visit and do check it out. Check it out. What is happening with me? Oh. See, I'm making actually shooting this video at midnight, and it's now in the morning. So I've been awake throughout the night, and like seriously, this is it's 5:35 in the morning, and I have been doing this. I've been making videos, and I've been trying my best to upload because I'm not technology freak, so I don't know technology like most of the people they do, but technology, they have a lot of idea and they have a lot of interest. My eyes can't my eyes actually don't allow, so it's very difficult for me to even look at and read or and then upload. It's a tedious task. All right, moving on to the theme B, which is tapestry of the past. A tapestry is a large piece of canvas like cloth, usually kept as a wall hanging. So it's like a wall hanging, wherein you hang on the wall that piece of canvas or cloth, right, with pictures and designs on it, like whatever you want to weave, pictures or designs on it, right? Sometimes a historical narrative. So most of the times it is the historical narrative that has been woven, that has been, um, um, the kind of designs that are there on the tapestry. That's most of the times it's historical in nature, right? Our tapestry is where we will be painting scenes from the past, beginning with the India's past. So our tapestry is where we will be painting scenes from the past. So we will actually go in the past and down the we will be painting down the what scenes from the past. For example, during if you love acting or if you love Bollywood or if you love Hollywood or film, although we should definitely ban it, but I think they are sort of fascinating for kids. So if you love that, you will understand this meaning of scene, right? So you can relate it with it, right? The past, all right. So, all, but why should we be at all concerned with the past? Because it is the key to understanding the present, and the chapters in this theme will often make this connection clear. So it is all about, why should we all be concerned with the past? Because it is the key to understanding the present. So if you want to understand the present, it would act as a key. So if you want to unlock the door, uh, you will definitely have to, uh, you- for if you want to go in the past and discover new things, you will have to open the key to the present, right? Because it is the key to understanding the present, and the chapters in this theme will often make this connection clear. The past is a major source for our identities. It helps us to understand who we are and where we come from. So, why is past important? Why is present important? We get to know from these statements, right? All right, just give me a moment. I'll just drink water. finish one bottle. Right. So the past is a major source for our identities. Now, this is very important. That why is past important? So the past is important for building our identities, for shaping our identities. Um, it helps us understand who we are. So who are we? Have you ever questioned who are we? I mean, obviously, we are human beings, we are social beings, right? Why? Because we interact with the environment, right? Why? Because we interact with people. You might be interacting with your van wala, with your bus wala, with your friends, with your parents, with your relatives, right? So you interact with so many people. That means you're a social person, right? I know obviously there are introverts, there are extroverts, there are ambiverts, and there are so many other now words. But um, to be honest, even I am an introvert. But if I talk about post-scholastic areas, like uh, especially talking about the sports, or I mean the dance thing that they're in. You know, I was actually, I don't know whether I'm introvert or not. I am like outside I become, I don't know what happens to me. I become introvert, but otherwise I'm not introvert. So the past is a major, so yeah. So that's if you're an introvert, that's an identity for you. You might not have had the so kind of environment or the social situations wherein you could have interacted with people, and therefore you might have become introvert, or something might have happened because of which some incident, because of which you might have become introvert, or it might be just innate natural around your surroundings. People might be like that, your family members might be like that, so you adopted the trait, right? So it could be anything, right? But nothing is bad. Being introvert is the biggest strength that one can have, right? So the past is still with us, in other words, and since history is unfortunately not all about happy developments, so when we look back at history, it's not it's unfortunate, but it is true that history is not only all about the happy or the moments that we cherish, right, or relish, right? They are they're not all about happy developments. It is useful to understand where people, governments, or rulers went wrong, and it is very crucial to understand where our leaders, where the rulers, they went wrong, so that we do not commit that same mistake, right? Where the governments or rulers went wrong, and why did they go, even if they had gone on the wrong direction? Why did they go? Why did they choose that direction? Only then we can hope to avoid repeating those errors. Only then we can, avoid those errors, and we can, come back as a strong person. Right? Then we have theme three, that is theme C, our cultural heritage and knowledge traditions. So our cultural heritage, which is very rich. Ta-ta-da! Namaste, Radhe Radhe. So we have a very rich legacy, which no other nation, or which no other country, or which no other continent can have, because India was, yeah, I was telling you, yeah, I remember now the point that I was making about history, that the kind of map that you get to see nowadays is very much different from how it was, right? So in the past, the map was quite like very huge and massive. Why? Because Indonesia was, I'm just giving you an example, Pakistan was a part of India, China was a part of India. Japan was part of India, Indonesia was a part of India, Antarctica was a part of India, and so on and so forth. Each and every, because relics from each and every from India are found in each and every country. So how is it for, even in America, in Europe, they have been found. So how can we say that, Indian tradition is just limited to India? No, it's not. It goes beyond, right? All right. So I think you guys are very small to understand this, but I want you guys to emerge, and I want myself also to emerge as a leader. I want to be, obviously, I love teaching, but not at the cost of you. Whenever you start working, no, you have to have, you have to get that kind of respect, and you have to get that kind of um monetary benefit that you deserve according to your capability and ability, right? So that is the thing. So now, our cultural heritage and knowledge traditions, it has often been said that India has a rich and ancient culture, as I've been talking about this only. True, but what are its main characteristics, its guiding principles? How has it manifested itself in India's history? And how can it help us to deal with issues of our times? These are some of the questions that this theme is exploring, with the objective that every student should understand some of the cultural foundations of our civilization and learn to appreciate their value. So it's not only, it's obviously about understanding the value system. It's about understanding the kind of background that we come from, that we were very rich, and we used to be covered with gold and diamonds and you know uh silver, and it was, everybody had gold, diamond, silver, they everybody possessed that. And um see, being my student, I want you to understand that gold has a lot of qualities, silver has a lot of qualities, but it should be pure. So at that point of time, it was uh, in history, it was pure, but nowadays it is not. It is made in labs under artificial technology. So you can hardly, you can imagine you are just paying the price of for the real gold or real silver or real diamond, but you are being cheated. It's called cheating only because it's built. Although it's, although it's made in s- the same kind of condition, but it is man-made. It is human-made. So why should we pay so much of cost? Why should we pay so much of money, right? And therefore, we should appreciate the value of our civilization. Then we come on to theme D, governance and democracy, right? Citizens of any country should know how their political system functions. Now, we as citizens, you are a citizen, I am a citizen, right? Right now, you are in standard sixth. ठीक है, अभी आप छठवीं कक्षा में हैं, ठीक है। अब आपका वोटिंग का जो, क्या कहते हैं, वोटिंग का आपको मिलता है जब आप उसके लायक हो जाते हैं वोट करने के लिए, वोट डालने के लिए। उसकी जो उम्र है वो 18 वर्ष रखी गई है, ठीक है ना। ठीक है। तो अभी आप बहुत छोटे हैं, लेकिन फिर भी आपको सारी जानकारी होनी चाहिए पॉलिटिक्स, पॉलिटिकल साइंस में। पॉलिटिकल साइंस एक सब्जेक्ट नहीं है, ऐसी हिस्ट्री एक सब्जेक्ट नहीं है, ये सारी चीजें महसूस करने की है। ठीक है। अंदरो अंदर अ- अन, अंदर से, अंदरूनी से, आई मीन अंदर से महसूस करने वाले हैं। ठीक है। आप सिटीजन हो इस नेशन के, कंट्री के, आपको पता होनी चाहिए आपकी ड्यूटीज क्या है। पहले आपको पता हो अपनी ड्यूटीज, आपको पता हो नॉर्म्स, रूल्स, रेगुलेशंस, आप फिर उसके हिसाब से वो उस नेशन में रहना होता है। ठीक है। गॉट इट? Alright, let's proceed. So, citizens of any country should know how their political system functions. So, they should be familiar, you being a citizen should be familiar with your rights, and I, being a citizen, should be familiar with my rights, along with, because I'm 18 plus, so I can vote, right? So, I can vote, but before that, before voting is just not the thing that you have grown up. No, some children, they are waiting for driving, they are waiting for learning how to drive, they are waiting for learning how to drive a car or a scooty, or they're waiting for voting. Okay, that's the thing. But you should be knowing what all duties, what all rights you being a citizen can have, right? Or possess, and can how can you operate it in a rightful manner. Now, so citizens of any country should know how their political system work functions. India is the world's largest democracy. India is the world as being the world's largest democracy, has an elaborate system working at different levels. What are its chief characteristics and components? How do the citizens participate in the overall governance? Now, how do we participate? We participate by voting, right? That's the major. We are the ones who are choosing our leaders. We are the ones who are choosing our leaders, and who would be shaping the future for us, right? Who would be giving us employment? Who would be uh, for example, who would be giving seventh pay commission, eighth pay commission. I mean, we expect a lot from our government. So, how do we citizens participate in the overall governance? What are their rights and also their duties or dharma? So, duties or dharma, in Hindi you call it dharma, in English you call it duties. So, what is the dharma? Dharma, actually in English you call it dharma, but in Hindi it is धर्म। ठीक है। तो धर्म, तुम्हारा धर्म यानी कि तुम्हारा ड्यूटी। ठीक है। Okay. So are there different systems in other countries? And if so, of what type? So are there any other systems apart from democratic, being a being a democracy, or being a democratic country or a nation? Um, are there any other systems that prevail or that exist? Right? Um, so how are different countries supposed to interact, and how are different countries they're supposed to interact with each other, right? um by studying this theme, we can become more responsible citizens, understand how the organs of the government function, and learn to have a say in the politics, in the policies that affect us all, whether locally or nationally. I think I am feeling sleepy. It's gonna be 6 o'clock in the morning, 6 p.m., and I have not slept throughout the night. I have been doing like I was literally struggling with uploading the videos, waiting for the videos, first and foremost, waiting for the videos to get to to be downloaded and then to upload them. All right. So, yep. Um, by studying this theme, we can become more responsible citizens. Governance, which theme? Governance and democracy. So by studying this theme, we can become more responsible citizens, understand how the organs of the government. So you have organs in the body, right? Similarly, government also has different organs. By organs, we don't actually mean that government has um uh, fingers or hands or legs. No, ये मत समझ लेना कि गवर्नमेंट के फिंगर्स हैं, हैंड्स हैं, लेग्स है, ये है, वो है। नहीं, ऑर्गन्स का मतलब है डिफरेंट डिफरेंट पार्ट्स, ठीक है। ऑलराइट, सो organs function and learn to have a say in the policies that affect us all. And how can we have actually um uh, have a say in the how can we actually have a say in the polit policies that are created, that are made, right? So how can we actually have a say in policy making and learn to okay, that affects us all, whether locally or nationally. So it can affect us locally or nationally. Theme E, which I guess is the last point. Yeah. No family can, which is theme E, which is one, two, three, four, yeah, five, which is the fifth point, economic life around us, right? Economic life around us. So economic life, as I've already mentioned, primary, secondary, tertiary, or something that is related to money, monetary uh, thing, that is called economic life around us. No family can be happy without the essentials of daily living. So there cannot be any family which can be happy without the uh, essentials of daily needs or daily living, right? At least sh- food, clothing, shelter, access to water in a first stage, in a second. So in first stage, at least you need to have food, you need to have water, you need to have shelter, you need to have clothing, right? And in second, livelihood for adults and access to education for the younger ones. Similarly, no country can develop harmoniously without a sound economy. So so you need to have access to all these things: food, clothing, shelter, access to water in the first stage. So if you don't have access to water, you I mean, it's even now, we have to pay bills like anything, like whether it be electricity bill. I don't know why I come from a middle class background, like seriously from a middle class background, and it's very difficult for us to, be paying so much. Like electricity bill is very taxing, then water bill is taxing. It's like too much. So, in a second, like according to me, it should be free. Uh, in a second, livelihood for adults. Similarly, no country can. So, livelihood for adults and access to education for the younger ones. So, access to education for younger ones, it should it shouldn't be that only it's done for poor people. That's what I guess. That's what I think. It should be done for everyone, access to education, access to water, access to food, access to homes, to houses, should be the actually norm which should be set by the government. At least if you can't, allot or give huge, massive. I'm not asking for massive, or we are not asking for massive, huge bungalows or villas. What we are asking is just basic amenities or basic necessities that any human being would desire or would be, you know, is hakdar hai, you know. We are, because we nobody is made to dominate any other person or any other country. So, we should all support each other. That's what I think. And in Russia earlier, you had the system, which I really appreciate, that everybody had the same kind of house, everybody had the same kind of a stature. So it was kind of cool, right? All right, so develop harmoniously without a sound economy, but how does an economy work, especially in a huge country like India? What exactly is money? But how does economy work? What do you understand by economy, by the way? And what exactly is money? And what do you understand by money? You must have, when I was small, I used to make my own, like, I used to cut pages from notebooks, and I used to make through scale, with the help of scale. And I used to just write down 100, 200, 50 rupees, so on and so forth, 500,000. And I just used to write down, and I used to assume that this is my cash, and I used to keep it aside. So, uh, during your playing time, you can even play it like that. You can create your own money. So where does it come from? How can it be increased, and how can it be increased? So where does money flow from or come from, and how can it be increased? That is something that even I am not able to, understand. Where does money come from, and how can we increase it? If you get the answer, do let me know. I would definitely love to increase money flow, but treading on the right path, by treading on the right path. So, what economic activities can people engage themselves in? How are natural um and human resources best be managed? Yes. How are natural and human resources best be managed? So how can the natural and human resources be managed in the best possible way, right? So there you will get to study that how there are two types of resource, how we manage resources. There are man-made resources, and there are natural resources. So there might be a lake or a pond or an ocean that is natural. That means that is God's gift to the Mother Earth, to the motherland, right? To India, or to any part of the globe, right? Those are referred to as, which are actually made by nature. They are called as natural resources. And the other, if there's a pond, or if there's a waterfall, or if there's a lake that is created artificially, that means by human beings, that is called man-made, right? So how are natural and human resources best managed? This theme will lay down some of the important concepts and practices that will enable us to answer these questions. You will notice that there are many questions in the preceding paragraphs. So you will notice that how many questions have been asked, right? So you have to answer all those questions, and you have to pay attention, right? So this is our this is it should be. Social science is also about the art of asking the right questions. So social science, again, the definition is over here. What is social science all about? So social science is all about asking the right questions. Only then we can start looking for the right answers. So if you start asking the right questions, only then you will be able to find the right answers, or only then you would be able to find the correct or the right solutions, right? This is as it should be. Social science is also about the art of asking the right questions. Only then we can start looking for the right answers. This also explains the presence of big questions at the start of each chapter in this book. And this also explains, why those questions, big questions, were given at the start of each chapter in the book. So, initially, at the start of each chapter, there would be big questions that would be given to you, right? That would be shot at you. Just kidding. Mazak kar rahi thi. So you may also be intrigued to find a game of chess and some ancient Tamil poetry in chapters that apparently deal with geography. So you may also right now also, if you have if you study GK, general knowledge, you might be aware about that too. Just you can put you can answer in the comment section below. You can comment in the comment section below. Um, who is the youngest? I'll give you a hint. It's a boy. Who is the youngest boy to win uh the medal in the gold medal in chess? Not the gold medal, but who is the one who plays chess brilliantly? Just tell me that. The name of the person in 2025, right? So this also explains the presence of big questions at the start of each chapter in this book. You may also be intrigued to find a game of chess and some ancient Tamil poetry. So there is an ancient Tamil poetry also that you will get to see in chapters that apparently deal with geography. Obviously, when you are talking about geography, see, when you go to 11th standard, you will have a poem in English wherein we would be talking about it. It is a very beautiful poem in which we talk about the hydrological cycle, in which we refer to the water cycle that goes on, and it's a beautiful poem, a must read poem. I know you guys are small, but if you can do it, it's कमाल हो जाएगा यार. ठीक है. So uh Tamil, I know, I don't understand Tamil. I don't know how. I don't know Tamil. I mean, so and I think you also might not be knowing Tamil. So if you don't know, what you can do is that you just can go and you can ask someone who might be aware of Tamil and who might know, and then you can translate it and try to understand. So a discussion on the uses of the sari in a chapter or cultural heritage. So there would be a discussion on the on the uses the uses of the sari in a chapter on cultural heritage. So what is the use of wearing a sari in um you know how does it preserve cultural heritage or showcase our cultural heritage? The concept of seva and the mention of festivals and charters focusing on economics. So the concept of seva, okay, uh, the concept of seva is very much prevalent and is the focal point in Hinduism. apart from that, in Sikhism also सेवा का बहुत महत्वपूर्ण रूप से आई मीन बहुत महत्वपूर्ण रोल प्ले करता है। कैसे? जैसे जब लंगर लगाया जाता है तो हम यू नो हम मतलब आई एम नॉट अ सिख बट आई एम पहाड़ी पंजाबी। I'm basically from Delhi, so I'm a Pahari Punjabi. So yeah, uh, keeping that aside, we believe in bringing elements from diverse fields together. Okay, but where was I? Seva, the concept of seva. So वो सेवा का भाव, सेवा का जो होता है, सेवा का भाव जो होता है वो दिखना चाहिए, दृश्य अच्छे से दिखना चाहिए। एंड द मेंशन ऑफ फेस्टिवल्स, और जो फेस्टिवल्स हैं चैप्टर्स में, चाहे वो दिवाली हो, चाहे होली हो, चाहे पोंगल हो, चाहे क्रिसमस हो, कुछ भी हो, इसका सबका मेंशन है। ठीक है? सो वेदर इट बी क्रिसमस, वेदर इट बी पोंगल, वेदर इट बी दिवाली, वेदर इट बी होली, whether it be any other festival, right? With Purnima, anything. We believe in bringing elements from diverse fields together. So we believe in bringing, as I've mentioned, all these festivals are they're so different from each other. If I talk about Easter, Good Friday, uh, Holi, Diwali, they are so different from each other, Pongal, but still we that diversity that what we had studied in the first lecture was unity in diversity. That unity in diversity is still there, right? Um, this enriches our perspective indeed. So this actually enriches our perspective. This actually makes our perspective more and more and more powerful. Indeed, life constantly mixes numerous elements together. So why should we not? So indeed, life itself is mixing, is blending all these elements together, right? So why should we not? Why should we not blend these? Why should we not blend the different nuances that we have, right? Well, by now, it should be clear that although social science makes constant use of the past, it seeks to make sense of the present so as to help us prepare a better future. It is an exploration and an adventure. So by now, it should be clear that although social science makes constant use of the past, so it does make use of the past, constant use of past. It seeks to make sense of the present, and it seeks to make sense of the present so as to help us prepare a better future so that we can prepare for the better future, right? It is an exploration and adventure in itself. All right. All right, so with this, I come to the end of the session. I hope you liked it. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up. Do like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any doubts, if you have any queries, you can reach out to me on my email ID. You can email me, you can contact me, or you can put your comments in the comment section below, or your doubts and or your queries in the comment section below. And I'll be more than happy to help you guys out, right? This is Sukriti Joshi, ma'am, signing off. Bye. Till then, let's all keep learning. Let's all keep growing. Let's all keep shining. Let's all keep blooming. Let's all keep blooming. All right.